Well, that was an amazingly overwhelming, optimistic, and positive view of the world. Yes, yes. When we go back to school, and we're in this series, Back to School, when we go back to school, we find ourselves back in a classroom, sitting at a desk. Maybe it's a chair and table. The room is led by a teacher. And the teacher's mission is simple. They need to educate students, to pass on wisdom to the next generation. However, in order to teach, the teacher must also maintain control of the room, which can consume more energy than non-teachers understand. Order is established and maintained by rules for behavior, but they have to be simple enough to digest, and complete enough to work, and repeated often enough that it gets into a kid's head, even though they show no visible sign of knowing what the rules are. But rules alone cannot maintain control in a classroom. So a teacher also controls an environment by engaging in how they present the material, or engaging in how they present the material. They do this often by sharing a part of their own story into the subject, and they bring their life lessons into their teaching. I want you to consider these things as you digest these somewhat bleak words we just read from Ecclesiastes. Whenever we read Ecclesiastes, we read as students listening to the wisdom of the teacher. And you can probably tell our teacher in this text is not new to the game. These are not the words of some young teacher that's full of optimism of everything they're going to do and change in life. Our teacher is a veteran. His words sound pessimistic, maybe even bleak. Many people do not care for this book for this very reason, but I love this book. I invite you to consider the wisdom of the teacher. See, Ecclesiastes opens by saying the words of the teacher. Ecclesiastes is written by a student who loved the teacher's wisdom. And the wisdom is summed up into this one depressing lesson: smoke. Nothing but smoke. That's what the teacher says. There's nothing to anything. It's all smoke. Now, if you're traditional biblical scholars like I know you all are, you would probably remember this from Vanity of Vanities, says the teacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. And I got to be honest with you, I have no clue what that means. However, if you go look at other translations, some will say pointless, pointless. It's all pointless. And I'm like, I didn't want to be that dark with you this morning, so we changed it. Some say worthless. None of those words, though, are good or accurate to what the teacher is teaching. The Hebrew word that gets translated vanities or worthless or pointless or as smoke is called hevel. The author uses the word hevel 38 times in Ecclesiastes, so you need to know what it means. And hevel is best understood as a mist or a vapor, something floating in the air, the finest and finest of vapors. If you've been to the Minnesota State Fair, you've probably seen one of those cooling stations as you walk by, and it just kind of blows water into the air, but the water is so fine. It is just, so you walk through it and you can see the mist, and there's a part of you feels it a little bit against your skin, but you can't, there's nothing there to grab. There's nothing there to like really get you wet. That is hevel, the veriest fine of mist. Mist, everything is utterly fine mist. Something you can see and feel but cannot grab, hold, or control. And I want you to hold on to that thought as I talk to you about my Friday night. Friday night, I went to watch the Mayer twins, Jonah and Noah, play a high school football game. The evening pulled me back into my youth because I love going to high school football games. And I don't think, not to be harsh on Minnesota, I don't think Minnesota understands how big football is in Ohio and Pennsylvania. Like the whole town shuts down. Even if you don't like football, you go to the game and you have no idea why. I love to go into those games. I love the student sections cheering. I love listening to the parents yelling at the ref. And the funniest thing about parents yelling at the ref, parents always get confused between high school football rules, college football rules, and pro rules. So last Friday, where's the instant replay? I love listening to parents grumble commentaries to each other. They talk about the team and what the team should do and how they should do and how the coach should do. And in the middle of their grumbling, they stop mid-sentence and go, "Come on, Johnny, play well. Come on, Johnny, play well." But then they stop and they go right back to the complaining. I sat with a crowd of cynics. They were cynical because they know it's going to be a long season. And if the Mare boys were here, I would say their team's defense was Hevel, nothing but Hevel. There were people running through that mist left and right. But that's, their team's struggles, the team struggles to get kids to come out for the team. And watching, you could see their team easily lost composure when things didn't work out or go their way. When kids dream of playing football, kids dream of playing good football. No one dreams of mediocrity. No one dreams of being beaten 36-0. And the hardest thing about football is it's one of the most complex team sports around. A few good players cannot carry a team to success. Everyone must commit, play hard, train like crazy, be invested. And that is the most important thing, be invested that what they are doing at this moment is the most important thing, the crown jewel of their whole existence. Football does not hold that kind of tradition at Richfield High School, where Jonah and Noah play. And that was not true of their opponents. South St. Paul High School has a long tradition of football. You could see how it shaped their style of play. The players all bought into that tradition. They were more disciplined and more driven. They were not necessarily more talented, but they were more committed. To be complete and be successful, whether as players or coaches, you must make playing the game the most important thing in the world. And the competition is not just against other schools. There are competitions going within the team itself. You're fighting for your starting lineup, and the coaches are telling you if you don't commit and start playing better, you're going to lose your starting job. And for all the excitement of a game like Friday night, the thrill of victory for the winners, or the anger over defeat, all of it is Hevel, a mist of the finest degree. The success will be just as elusive as defeat, and by next Friday, it will all be forgotten. 95% of the players on that field the other night will stop playing organized football after high school is over. The others, they may make it to Division III and then be done after college graduation. Maybe 0.1% has a chance of actually making it into an elite football program, whether that be college or the pros. Years after playing it, it will all be a dream. It'll all be rooted in your past. And the older you get, you might even get to that point, do I even remember playing the game? The teacher in Ecclesiastes would speak to those student athletes from Friday on both teams, and he would say, mist. There's nothing but mist. That's what the teacher says. There's nothing to anything. It's all fine mist. Your win or your loss is nothing but a mist floating in the air. But the teacher would not leave it that depressing. He would look and continue the lesson. Go ahead, work, as hard as you want to be as good, and push yourself to be all that you can be. Push yourself, and you will ultimately find success in high school football, but you will also find high school football not that fulfilling. It cannot carry you through the difficulties of life, and the difficulties of life will come whether you want them or not. Instead, the teacher will say, enjoy the moment. Embrace the fun of playing at that time, because as a moment, it is fun. It is beautiful. It is precious, whether you win or lose. If Jonah and Noah were here today, and they often are sitting right here, I would tell them, don't be defeated by the outcome of the game. Instead, just enjoy playing, because a day will come when you can no longer play. Watching the boys play the other night made me think of myself. Competition, the thrill of beating an opponent, was never a motivator for me in sports. It's probably why I didn't excel at the level I thought I could have. I just loved to play. I just loved to run. I just loved to throw. I just loved to hit. I loved to catch. And now that all my joints are failing me and I can no longer run and I can no longer throw a ball, I miss just playing. But I treasure those memories because I had them and I love them. Disappointments don't start in high school, nor do they stop. But high school is a breaking point. It is, I think, the first time in our life when we begin to realize our serious limitations. Like we as a parent, we build up our children to be all that they can be. We feed them with dreams, equip them to follow their passions. But just about every student in high school hits a wall where they come to realize their dream, the dream they've been running against or for, maybe isn't their dream. Or maybe it's not going to become a reality. I thought about that with my own daughter playing soccer. She loved soccer. We used to force her to take timeouts. And after her freshman year of soccer, she just goes, this is no longer my dream. I don't want to play. I had a camper in Iowa who would come to camp if she could work on her violin for 1 hour a day, every day of camp. Can you imagine an 11-year-old girl stopping to from playtime at the camp to work on your violin? She did this since she was 7 years old. Surely she was destined for greatness, but she discovered her limitations in high school. She would never be the concert performer she dreamed of being when she was 7, 8, 9 years old. I was not present when that time came to her, but I can tell you, it did not bother her for long. She loved playing and would continue to play. And she did not regret for a moment all of the practice that she did. And today she is a pastor and she still enjoys playing that violin. Thankfully, she never put her whole identity into being a successful, accomplished musician. And she didn't put all her eggs into that basket. She just loved playing. The teacher in Ecclesiastes would say, see, everything is mist slipping through your fingers, but that mist is beautiful if you enjoy the experiences of letting it brush against your face. In our house, we are eagerly watching to see when our granddaughter will stand and take her first steps. And I'm looking over there going, we've been enjoying Xavier taking his first steps, going, man, when that comes, that whole time come. And actually, if you know Xavier, we've all been watching that and enjoying that moment. This is the kind of a thing grandparents live for. And I'm more excited about Zoe walking than I was about my own children. We get so excited watching every attempt, real or make-believe. We make up, oh, that looked like a crawl. That looked like a crawl. Someday she will stand on her own and take a step. And we will all treat it like she just won an Olympic medal, like she did something of monumental accomplishment. But the truth is, in the big picture of life, it's not an accomplishment. It's missed. My son started walking at 8 months old, which is very, very early. Can you imagine if he went into a job interview and say, what do you qualifies you? Well, I started walking at 8 months old. There you go. The employer would look at him and say, yeah, good job there, buddy. You're not the only one. Life is not measured by one accomplishment, no matter how early or late it comes. And you don't have to be a parent or a grandparent to appreciate a child's first step. If you just watch that, you know the energy, you can feel the excitement. That moment is beautiful. And what would we do if those steps never came? What if we discovered Zoe's life was not going to be like other children? It would be hard for her parents, it would be hard for us. But her life would not cease to be precious, nor would there be plenty of opportunity to see an overwhelming amount of beauty. Faith, the trust in God, connects us to a bigger network of life and just changes our vision. We begin to see that we are not alone, nor are we the only ones to deal with disappointment and heartache. And that's what happens when life and its challenges come. You think you're the only one and you can't get over it. And Ecclesiastes says, it's missed. You're not alone. You're not the only one. Some of the most inspirational experiences of my life have happened here at Advent, watching young people in their life find new life on the other side of disappointment. They have discovered sometimes the things they were stressing to achieve weren't as fulfilling as they first thought it was. The teacher in Ecclesiastes shares a depressing lesson. If you were to read the entire book, you would feel like nothing matters, not even entertainment or a total devotion to God. And part of the reasons it's a depressing lesson is because it's a contrast to what we teach in our culture right now. Work hard, accomplish great things, build a legacy, win, do things. The lesson is not meant to be depressing, but it's meant to be a challenge. A challenge to us, the students. The truth is, we will never figure out the complexities of life. We'll never find the answers to our own existence, but we do have a choice. Life is filled with beauty and accomplishment. It's also filled with disappointments and defeat. And we can become cynical, selfish, even nihilistic, as though nothing matters, or we can turn to God and look at life through a bigger picture. Because when we turn to God, we are not turning our back on the world, we're just changing our vision. In the arms of God, we begin to see the beauty in many things. We find new life on the other side of defeat. I didn't do this, but all week long, I've been watching a video of Peggy's parents' wedding. And then all the kids playing in splash pads and in kiddie pools and running around. It was just funny because all the adults in that video, almost all the adults in that video, are dead. And the children that are playing in that pool no longer can run like they once did. And I thought about it, missed. I can still look at that video and see life. And I know the life that they're having in those kiddie pools in 1950, they'll still be doing in 2050, 3050, and on, because life continues. The challenge for us is just to see beauty in the gift we have in life and living. Amen.